Mm.
Bean, Byron, and Oakley have been enslaved by robots. Dance for your dinner, monkeys.
Houston, we have a problem.
Crazy parents, crazy life.
That's why you listen to me!
Oh, wait a minute, let me change my...
And guess what, fuckface?
下一个我考考耶！
Baby Watch 2014. You guys, what about Bob Dylan at the dentist?
Does Bob Dylan have teeth? Like,
That's an impression I'm working on right now.
I'm not even sure he has teeth. When I think of Bob Dylan,
that's the whole problem. They're like,
Can that be the name of your second comedy album? Bob Dylan
yes, Bob Dylan at the dentist.
You know when the dentist puts that little suction tube in your throat, but it never actually collects the saliva.
It just makes me gag.
Yeah, it's like stuck to your fucking dangly thing in the back of your throat, and you still have like a pool, and you're like choking, and the dentist just doesn't fucking care.
And the dentist is talking to you, even though both his fucking hands are down your throat and asking you questions. I'm like, what? How am I supposed to answer this question?
But then you still feel obligated to answer it, like somehow communicate.
And then you just like shrug and put your hands up. He's like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, tearing because he's.
I still can't answer your question. Yeah, they're like, if you're feeling any pain, just tell me. I'm like, please, I don't know how I'm supposed to tell you that. I could be in terrible pain right now, and nobody would know.
Is my crying not enough? This gentle weep is an indicator enough that I'm in fucking pain right now?
Right.
Speaking of fucking pain, Amy's about to feel a world of it.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, the magical moment is imminent.
Yeah.
So, as I was telling Bean, Amy is doubly miserable because she got a cold last weekend,
shit.
And because she has an alien parasite living inside her, her immune system is like totally devastated.
Yeah.
She just can't get rid of this cold, and of course she's still working. So she goes into work, and all her coworkers are complaining that she came into work sick. Okay, so Amy doesn't even know how to call in sick. Like, she's never called in sick. She wouldn't even know how to do it. So she finally works out something with her boss, like, okay, if I'm not feeling well tomorrow, I won't come in. Okay. So the next day, of course, she's feeling even worse. She calls in. The whole day she's getting text messages from the doctors on her unit, like, why do we not have NP coverage? Who's not here? Why is the nurse not here? Why is this not getting done? Why is that not getting done? Oh, God. So Amy's at home trying to rest, racked with guilt from seeing these text messages. Ah, shit. Okay. So the next day, not really feeling any better, but okay, here I go. I go in. And then the whole day, what are you doing here? Wait, are you sick? You're going to get somebody else sick. You shouldn't be here. So
these fucking people.
I mean, like, she works at a hospital. Like, if there's a safe place to be sick at work, it's her job.
Right.
But, you know,
or like the exact opposite of that. The last place somebody should be sick at work is the hospital.
But it's just it's not even, like, whatever. It's not. I don't know if she's really contagious even or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is that everyone just has to fucking opine at every opportunity.
Right.
So fortunately, I think at the end of yesterday, Amy adopted the opinion of, oh, who gives a shit?
Yeah, good.
So I can't win with you people, so I'll just do whatever. Seems like
that's exactly how I'm living my life these days.
But I was like,
can't fucking win with you people.
Poor Amy, just jumping from one foot to the other, trying to make everyone happy.
Yeah, then she has this dickhead inside of her, asking her all these different things too.
Right, eating all her food and using up her immune system.
Exactly. And sending out her blood.
And standing on her bladder all the time.
All the time. Well, it's the tallest place in the room, apparently.
Right. Please, when I get pregnant, I'm gonna start fucking calling out at like week 2. I'm like, I can't go in.
I'm going on bed rest like before I even get pregnant.
Yeah. It's the only way to get pregnant.
Exactly.
Unless airplane rest, bathroom rest,
Right.
Chipotle rest. There's a lot of places you can get pregnant. That actually reminds me of a story. I was actually telling someone this the other day, but did you guys have like a go-to like excuse for getting out, like when you like cut, when you cut class or skip school or even like your job?
Oh yeah, strep throat.
Diarrhea.
Strep throat.
Diarrhea is an honest one though, but you can't get too honest with that because then you feel like you're a little too naked in the pool, so to speak.
But there's no
pool of your own fucking meal from last night.
There's no follow-up question.
Yeah, nobody asks you about it. It's the same thing if a girl says she has her period.
Right. You just
it's conversation ender.
Act really uncomfortable and sheepish, and like kind of nibble around the edge. Be like, I'm not. I've been having to go to the bathroom a lot. It's just, I don't. It's kind of embarrassing, but
it's coming out of both ends. It's just.
I've been peeing out of my butt. So when I was in high school, one of my friends used to always get out of school because he had, he actually had severe migraines, and our dean was sensitive to that because she suffered from them herself. So I found out that he was like not getting, because we used to have this thing called JUG in high school, which was, I went to Catholic high school and it was justice under God. So if you were late to school for whatever reason, like even if you were 10 minutes late, you had to walk around on a gravel path outside of our school for an hour, like in a circle on a gravel path, which is fucking torture, Like
barefoot?
No, you could wear your fucking Doc Martens, but like it was still kind of, for someone like me who has no coordination, you could just imagine the gravel that was flying. I was like, oh! I always looked like I was sliding home, and I wasn't even fucking trying to play sports. But I found out that I could use migraines as an excuse, and so I used them so fucking often. And she was actually super, she was very sympathetic to me. She was just like, she's like, they suck, whatever. She's like, I'm sorry that you have them. Well, I use them so often that, like, she eventually was like, you should check the nurse. Like, you probably have a fucking giant brain tumor. Like, there's no reason for you to have a migraine only in the morning, like, every fucking week. And that's my story.
And then you come back and say, turns out I got a brain tumor.
Yeah.
Bummer. Not going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
My go-to was always strep throat because by the time... Because you had to have a test to prove whether or not you had strep throat. So by the time we got to the community health center, got into a doctor, had the test, it was already noon, and school was over in a couple of hours anyway. So I'm like, well, really don't point in going to school now. And every single time my mom was like, fuck, 'cause the test always came up negative. I was never sick.
Foiled.
Foiled.
I remember, speaking of tests that come back negative, I remember going for my first hearing test, and the instructions were raise your hand when you hear a sound, and I didn't know that you were supposed to raise the hand that corresponds to the ear in which you hear the sound. So I just kept raising my hand every time I heard a sound, but it was just with my right hand. I'm a righty, and then they were just like, "Oh, we think that Byron might be deaf in his left ear," and I started panicking because I was like, I knew I could hear, but no one believed me, so I just felt like Nell. I felt like I started to assume the personality of a deaf person, and I felt like my language changing. I was honestly scared for a couple of weeks that I was deaf in my left ear, and it turns out that I was just taking the fucking test wrong, which par for the fucking course. I need someone to spell out instructions for me for everything, or I'm gonna fucking do it wrong.
Yeah, that was the time I took the SATs and marked the wrong box and started getting college pamphlets from Howard and a bunch of different black universities, and I definitely started to act like a Native American or act like an African American, talking all about my heritage and my people.
That was so disappointing.
It was so disappointing. I was like, wow, I could go to any college I want, and then I realized, wait a second,
No, I can't.
No, I can't.
We're totally discriminated against.
Totally it was affirmative action taken away.
You should get reparations.
I should get absolute reparations. I agree.
This is actually a great segue, because Liz, I don't know if you quite agreed to this, but we are going to share a personal story of yours. With this being July 4th week and everyone celebrating our independence tomorrow, I wanted to tell a story, and I want you to tell it because no one tells it better than you. And I tried to surprise you with a guest today, but he can't make it because he's waiting for like his fucking boiler repairman or some shit. It's whatever Bob Sofol does.
Whatever happens in England.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the time that you were arrested and detained at Heathrow and the events that led up to it, because it is an amazing story. And we actually got a couple of requests from our fans. I'm not even shitting you. I got texts and emails being like, loved the coverage that you guys had about your crazy ass job last week. Could you guys tell Liz's story this week? So.
Oh, wow.
Liz, take the mic.
Okay. So how many years ago was this? I have a really hard time putting together my, like, personal timeline. I'm like 15 years ago or like 1 year ago. I have no fucking idea.
It was over 6 years.
It was over 6 years ago. So over 6 years ago, I was working at the startup company that Byram and I worked at together. And I kept trying to quit my job. I really didn't want to work there anymore. But they kept like telling me that they would give me different things in order to like get me to stay at the company. And their last ditch effort was like, we're going to go open an office in the UK, and we want you to move there and open the customer service operation. And I was like, awesome. Of course I want to go move to England. That sounds like the best thing I'd ever want. And so it kept me there. And so the plan kind of went into action that I was going to pick up my whole life and move to the UK and work for the company there. Time passes. The conversation starts months before we leave, but yet it seems like not that much preparation is happening. I'm a procrastinator. I think the company I worked at was like big procrastinators. Long story short, the day we're leaving dawns, and I'm hungover as fuck as usual, and I have at this point packed up all of my earthly belongings and
into a duffel bag that's covered with rifles.
yeah. I had a bag that had embroidered rifles on it, and the Japanese TSA ripped it open, so I actually wasn't able to use it on this trip. But yeah, I had all my stuff was in like cardboard boxes, and everything was sort of in total disarray. But anyway, I went to the airport and got on the plane.
Can I interject here? Not only did you go about packing up your personal belongings, but you had a huge farewell party where your family came in from out of town. Oak, you were there. Amy was there. Your mom was there. Your aunts. Like, it was a big deal. Like, it was a big change in your life. And you were putting all your faith in this company. Yeah. We had a big ass goodbye party for you. Yeah. I think we had 2 goodbye parties. We also had one down in Tribeca, which was like.
But I didn't show up to that one. I got too drunk to show up to. But I hope you guys had fun.
It was so much fun, yeah.
Good, I'm glad. So long story short, we get to the airport, get on the plane, pay like $700 to put all of my earthly belongings underneath the plane, because that seemed to make the most sense to me. I was like, why can't I check these 2 giant boxes that weigh 40 pounds each?
You're like, where am I putting my piano?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm like, I just have this one chair. Can I bring it?
You would be the type of person who doesn't pack any underwear, but you have a cello, and you're like, what?
What? Yeah. I have this antique lyre that I want to bring.
You're like, excuse me, flight attendant, my harp isn't fitting in the seat under the seat in front of me, so what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. So I feel as though I'm obviously prepared for this trip. So my associate, Robert Gordon Sofol, and I, and the only reason I have decided that I want to move to the UK is because I have a partner in crime, and his name is Robert Gordon Sofol, and he is a prince among men. And I couldn't have asked for a better traveling partner, although he complains more than anyone I've ever met.
And affectionately, and going forward on this podcast, he will be referred to as Bob.
Yes, exactly. Robert Gordon Sofol is Bob, and he was my associate on this UK excursion. So we get on the plane. We're traveling Lufthansa. Bob has a little bit of German knowledge, and so he's just yelling out random German phrases while crushing cocktails on the plane. We get to our stopover in Munich. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at a map of Europe, but a stopover in Munich on the way to England from Manhattan is dumb as fuck. But anyway, that's how it went. We stopped over in Munich, had a Stein, even though it was 6 o'clock in the morning, got back on the plane, got to the Heathrow airport, and we're waiting in line at customs. We're all excited, starting out on this new adventure, wearing a lot of our company outfits embroidered with all the stuff. My suitcase was embroidered with our company logo. And so I get in the line for customs, and I get called up, and they're like, what is the purpose for your visit? And I fucking shit my pants, because I'm like, all of a sudden my brain starts racing, and I'm like, wait a second, what is the purpose for this visit? I don't have a work visa. Nobody ever got that topic never came up during the whole course of this. I guess there was an email that I missed that told me what I was supposed to say in this instance, but I definitely don't have a work visa. So I was like, I can't say work because then they're going to ask for my work visa. So I said pleasure, because I was like, I've watched this on TV. I know that you can only go to another place for work or pleasure, so it has to be one of these two things. So I said pleasure, and the guy was like, how long are you going to be here for? And I was like, 3 months. And he looks at me, I'm a hobo, basically, and I'm planning on coming to the UK to just live for 3 months. There's no possible way I can afford that because the dollar was so weak and the pound was so strong at that time. He's like, this is bullshit. And of course, my shirt is embroidered with my company logo, and my suitcase is embroidered with my company logo. And he's like, are you traveling with anyone? And I'm like, yeah, that guy. And I point at him, and he is also wearing clothing that is embroidered with the company logo. And he's like, this is fucking bullshit. And so he pulls us out of line, and we're kind of sitting by the edge, and they're going through all of our luggage. And of course, they're open up my bag, and they've opened up my prom dress bag, because of course I had an entire dress dedicated to prom, or entire bag dedicated to prom dresses. And they're holding up my prom dresses and all of my very personal mementos.
Why did you pack so many prom dresses to go work in London?
Because it was everything I owned.
Did you just want to be a fucking cast member from Dynasty?
Yes.
Fucking giant sequin gowns and shoulder pads, and you're
I have never moved to England before. I don't know what you need. I could have needed prom dresses. I don't know.
You're so practical.
I'm so practical. And then they open up this other zipper pocket that had these all of my really personal mementos from my childhood. And this guy comes over and he's like, if you're just going here on vacation, why do you have a clipping of your baby hair? I don't understand what's happening. And I'm like, sir, I don't, I can't explain it. And so
he's like, why do you have your baby teeth? And you're like, no, those just fell out in Munich.
Yeah, exactly.
I hit my face with the Stein, so those aren't.
And so they bring us to the Heathrow Detention Center, which sounds really stressful and embarrassing, but what I found out later on was that there is an even more sort of detention-y place that you can go to, and that's the place where they have the beds, but that's where the real criminals go. So in the Heathrow Detention Center, the real criminals get beds, where corporate pawns like myself just have to sleep on fucking benches. That doesn't seem quite fair to me. But anyway, we get locked up in the Heathrow Detention Center for we were there for probably about 12 hours before anybody kind of came to talk to us. And it was this guy that kept coming in and being like, listen, I don't want to get you in any trouble, but I have to tell my boss what's going on here, so you have to just be upfront and honest with me. And I'm like, I am being upfront and honest with you. I think I can't remember if I wasn't still trying to lie at this point, because I'm a really terrible liar. I was like, yeah, no, I was going there to work. I just don't have a work visa. I just want to go home. And he was like, well, the thing might be that we're going to have to send you home. I'm like, yeah, I know. I really just want to go home. I'm totally fine with that. And he was acting like it was this whole sting operation. And I'm crying and freaking out. And I'm just like, no, I just fucking want to go home. That's fine. And so finally, the determination is made after 22 hours in the Heathrow Detention Center that we are not welcome in the United Kingdom, and they put us back on a plane back to the United States. And the funny thing about, I don't know if you guys have ever been deported, but when you get deported, you actually have to leave on the exact same flight that took you there. It's some weird international law. And so we had to go back through Munich and then back to we weren't even respected enough to get sent right back to New York. They sent us back through fucking Munich and then back to New York. And then we ended up back in New York. And I turn on my cell phone when we get back to New York, and I have like 300 text messages, all of them from Byram. And the company forefathers decided that when we got back from this experience, the first thing that we would want to do is go out to dinner with them. And so my boss had like rounded up all of my friends, and we went out to like a really expensive steak dinner the minute I landed back in the United States, which is like the last fucking thing I wanted to do when I got back.
Did you even have a place to live when you got back?
No. Remember I lived on your couch for like 4 days and then moved back to
yeah.
Boston?
That's right.
Yeah. I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. And so I came back, and they put me up in a hotel for like 3 or 4 days. And then I went into work, and I quit my job and moved back to Boston and took one of my many life mulligans.
What did they say?
Um,
What did the company say?
at one point, the CEO came up to me and like made a really serious face and shook my hand and goes, "I'm sorry." And that was about it. That was kind of all I got. I mean, the onus was on me. I guess I'd like missed an email somewhere and like I'd been reticent on my own. And I realized in hindsight that like
the email was like, you should like perpetrate this fraud.
basically,
Right. So you're supposed to
the
lie
email,
to customs?
right, essentially. And I just like I couldn't believe that the instructions for how I was to like move to another country would be included in an email that didn't even have a read receipt on it. But we've lost Byram. But yeah, so that's how it all went down, and that brings us up to date.
Wow.
I'm glad it happened.
That's a good story.
It happened. Yeah, it is a good story.
You should definitely work that one into your stand-up routine.
I know.
I bet if you
So
could get
funny. I
that.
have so many.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Try to get that on like a note card. Like if you can do like the, I don't know, 90-second version of it or something, or 2 minutes. That'd be a good one.
I know. Find the funniest. Pulled the funny parts out of it.
Because there are some funny parts. It's a good story.
It doesn't. It's funny. It doesn't even feel like it happened to me anymore. It's just amazing the things that you think that are going to be like your life for forever. Like right after I got back, I was like, this is the most. My life is so fucking ridiculous and fucked up. And here I am. Like I don't even think about that anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Until today. Yeah. Until today.
We did lose Byram, but I'm sure.
Yeah,
he'll be
I'm
back.
inviting him again.
I'm sure he'll be back any minute.
Yeah.
Should we start on some news?
Yeah. Yes.
Are you following this whole Hobby Lobby thing?
No, not at all.
All right. So
it was all couched in so much self-righteous indignation on the internet and Facebook that I just refused to even like look at it. But I would like to hear from you.
Well, right. So I have so culled my social media feeds that I don't actually see these types of things anymore. Like anyone who posts anything political, I've unsubscribed from. So I feel a little bit bad because I think sometimes that I've created such a like curated environment that I'm like not exposed to like what people are really talking about.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually see anything about this Hobby Lobby thing until I think Byram actually tweeted something about it, and I was like, Hobby Lobby, what the fuck's that?
Right, exactly. What is that?
So apparently, in a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled Monday that the government cannot require certain employers to provide insurance coverage for birth control that conflicts with the employer's religious beliefs. Hobby Lobby, owned by an evangelical Christian family, brought the legal challenge.
Okay.
It's an interesting thing that an employer can make decisions about like what they're going to provide insurance for based on what their religious beliefs are.
It is an interesting thing.
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I mean,
on the face of it, I would be upset if I were an employee of theirs.
Me too, because it's not a good reason, I don't think. But I mean, you have to protect.
Yeah, it's not a good reason.
Yeah. I'm stopped short at the idea. I I mean, I don't think an employer should be impelled to provide any health insurance coverage, but I mean, that's the world we live in now. So I guess if we live in that world, then you have to like get to that next idea.
Right. I mean, if there were a reasonable alternative,
Yeah.
But there isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like if my well, I'm on Amy's insurance now, but so if Amy's employer stopped providing her health insurance and we just had to pay for it, like we'd be fucking hurting, dude. Like
Exactly.
That would suck.
Exactly. There should, I mean, in my utopia, there would be a healthcare system that you could avoid or that you could afford outside of having your employer help you pay for it. But that's not the world we live in, so whatever.
Right. And it's because it is the insurance companies have created this world that we live in.
Right.
In the healthcare industry.
In the government.
Right. But I think the government just hasn't really done anything about it.
Well, I think it all started when the government started subsidizing the health insurance industry, and then they didn't have to be competitive, and so then we all got fucked over.
I'm not familiar with subsidies to the health insurance industry. I mean, I know that I don't think anything has changed particularly since they started making all these healthcare reforms in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, this has been like this for, time immemorial, I think.
Oh, sorry guys.
There he is.
My Wi-Fi dropped, and so now I had to move to another room that had like a hardwired connection, so I'm gonna have that fucking echoey sound.
It's all right.
That's okay.
We were just talking about Hobby Lobby.
Oh yes. Wait, before this is already out of topic because you guys finished the story, but Bob Sopel sent me a statement that he wants read on this podcast.
All right.
Oh, great.
And he wrote, and you have to pretend that you're hearing this in a faux British accent, a Pittsburgh British accent. He wrote, even though we were incarcerated, stuck behind countless meters of concrete, I knew everything would be okay in the end. You see, hung above us was a picture of a bald eagle with its wings spread like the gateway to the west. The imagery, nay, the iconography, helped Liz and me through the perils of jailhouse life. Because of that eagle, we survived. God bless America.
Hear, hear.
I love that eagle. There was an eagle and like a ram. And I'm like, neither of these animals are indigenous to the United Kingdom. Why are they in the Eastern Desert?
Powerful words. Powerful. Mom, can you tweet that out?
Yeah. I'm going to tweet that.
That's funny.
Okay, so I definitely interrupted the Hobby Lobby story. Where were we on that?
We were talking about the Supreme Court decision that said that Hobby Lobby doesn't have to pay for birth control. For health insurance to provide birth control, and then we'd sort of tangentially wandered into how we ended up with the health insurance system that we have now.
Right.
But my 2 cents on the Hobby Lobby thing is, if you're a girl working at Hobby Lobby, you are definitely getting banged in the ass. So I definitely don't think that birth control even matters to you because you've got the most effective kind, which is anal sex.
Yeah.
That was mentioned in the majority decision. Scalia included that in his.
It was Ruth Bader
It was
Ginsburg.
in her dissent,
Up
yeah.
the back of her robe, and she's like, "We like it in the stink, so we don't really need any pills."
I worked at Hobby Lobby for 3 summers, and I took it in the ass the whole time.
Right. I was always taking it in the pooper, and there's no harm of getting pregnant.
That, folks, is what you tune in for. It's that kind of insight. You're not going to get that anywhere else.
No.
I mean, here's my honest 2 cents on it, though. I mean, I'm technically not a woman, so I don't know the answer to this, but actually,
That's a technicality.
It's a slight technicality because I have some of the equipment.
Yeah.
But there's girls who take birth control for reasons other than birth prevention, right? Like.
Yeah, to like clear up their skin and make them less psycho.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something a company have to provide medication for, but again, I mean, there's like if you have like a really terrible period or like something like that, I guess there's another reason. But I think birth control should be used for not getting pregnant. But I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. on that.
I don't know if the doctor has to provide a reason why they prescribe it.
Right. Exactly.
I think they just prescribe it.
I mean, it just seems like a lazy decision because it's like, well, I mean, it is like, what's the precedent for it? And like, where else is this ever going to come into play? Like, what other religion would like, I don't know. To me, it seems like a sort of a lazy decision that like is opening the door for a lot of like really fucked up things to happen.
Well, right. It goes to the sort of larger argument about whether whether you can be compelled to do things that violate your religious beliefs.
Right.
Which we've sort of like, I think as a culture sort of said you don't have to.
Right.
Which is why these like maniacs who like won't get their kids like medical treatment when they get sick because they're religious nut jobs.
Right.
John Travolta, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, John Travolta.
Jenny McCarthy.
Yes. Speaking of which, did I hear that Jenny McCarthy got fired from her job? Did you?
What? She had a job?
She did.
What was it?
It wasn't. What was that dating show she was on MTV?
This is fucked up that I don't know that. I'm
know,
actually proud of myself that I don't know.
Oh, you have to know. You definitely masturbated to that
Living
show.
Single? No, that's definitely not it.
Byron, we didn't have fucking...
Singled out. Singled out.
Singled
Is that
out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Byron,
Yeah. We didn't have. No.
The first time I ever lived in a place with cable was college.
Yeah.
We had a rabbit ears antenna that was like masking tape to the window.
Yeah, I used to like hide inside lockers and listen to the conversations of other school children to try and like figure out what they were talking about, and that's how I knew about what was going on cable. I would be like, "Oh yeah, I love that show, Martin. So funny, so funny."
You're like,
Shemina.
You're like, I love Asian characters.
Yeah.
It's the best show.
I'm looking at JennyMcCarthyBodyCount.com. And according to this website, the number of preventable illnesses caused by Jenny McCarthy's anti-vaccine campaign is 134,786.
Wow.
Preventable deaths, 1,393. Number of autism diagnoses specifically linked to vaccinations, 0.
0. Oh my god, so stupid.
I'm sure that was kind of a factor in her getting fired. I think also she's just retarded.
Yeah.
And
she's dating the weirdest Wahlberg.
Yeah. Donnie.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's a fucking wizard-like PR move on Hobby Lobby's part because who the fuck knew what Hobby Lobby was before this whole thing happened?
You're right.
You know, this is a huge PR boon for them, and now people are all like, "I have hobbies. I should go to the Hobby Lobby." It's like what happened with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
What do they sell there? Like buttons and glitter and shit?
I have no idea. Glue guns. I think glue guns are probably sold there.
Popsicle sticks.
Yeah, I know. It makes me just realize.
I do. I have a glue gun.
For what?
What did I use it for last?
Probably to like stitch up a wound. You're like, oh, this thread's not working. Glue on
I
it.
cracked the toilet seat in half, and so I used the glue gun to fix it.
How did you do that? How did you crack the toilet seat in half? I don't even want to ask. Forget
I brought the hammer down on Brown.
Oh, that's so gross.
I come correct.
Yeah.
So getting back to The View really quickly, there's no one left on that show besides Whoopi Goldberg. So
yeah, they fired everybody.
Yeah. So if you are looking for 3 additional hosts for The View, Barbara Walters, friend of the pod, we might be willing to dedicate an hour to you a day.
I don't know. I have a pretty busy schedule. I have to get coffee after this, and then there's a bagel involved. I don't know if I have time for The View. I don't think I have time for it.
Wait. I want to talk about World Cup soccer.
Oh, great.
Yes.
The U.S. lost. We suck. It's over.
Yeah,
but something good did come out of this whole thing, and that was the Twitter hashtag Things Tim Howard Can Save. Byram, have you seen this yet?
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. So everyone out there right now, go search the hashtag things Tim Howard can save. And it's just a bunch of Photoshop pictures of Tim Howard saving things like the girl swimming in Jaws or the laser from the space aliens in Independence Day, the meteor that's about to hit the dinosaurs, Hurricane Arthur. Tim Howard's saving us from that. He's saving the Titanic. He's saving Ned Stark from the Executioner's Sword. Anyway, it's just brilliant stuff. Anyway, so usually I'm mad at the internet and frustrated by it,
Yeah.
and Twitter hashtags are like the worst place in humanity. But this time, something good came out of it.
So to all our listeners, we challenge you to come up with some stuff that Tim Howard couldn't save, and so we want you to be as tasteless as possible.
Yes.
And use that hashtag and also tweet at us.
Yes.
And any the best of your submissions. Oh, let's be real. If even one person submits,
Yeah.
featured on the show.
Yeah.
Just tweet at us.
Are you
Even
there,
if you
God? It's
don't
us,
tweet
not
at
you.
us, we will make up something up like we always do and say that you tweeted at us.
Right, we will fraudulently tweet from you.
We'll come up with something 1 second before the podcast starts.
Liz is gonna hide in your high school locker, snatch
Yeah.
your phone, and tweet on your behalf.
I will. I wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, what is this? We're getting our first tweet?
What?
No.
No, not at all. I'm desperately trying to figure out how to use Twitter right now, and I don't know how.
Yeah, I think Twitter is kind of confusing because I never know like replying, retweeting, like if you reply to someone, you aren't including their original tweet. So
Okay.
like, isn't it confusing for other people who read it?
So there's different sort of ways that it works. If you reply to somebody, when most Twitter clients, it'll show you the like thread of replies.
Okay.
So they'll like when you look at the tweet, like when you like open it up, it'll have all the replies. So the
Okay.
thread of the conversation. A reply that's directly at someone, which is like at Fat Bad Baby,
Mhm.
is the first thing that's said. Only people who follow you and me can see that tweet. That'll only appear in their timeline. If you put a
Oh.
character before, your Twitter handle, like anything, then anyone who follows the person who's posting it can see it. So you'll see sometimes people put like a period in
Yeah.
their reply. That's so all their followers can see it.
Oh shit.
And then you can retweet, which is basically just putting someone else's tweet on your timeline, or you can do like an old school retweet, which is basically just quoting the person's tweet, putting RT in front of it, and then you put whatever you want.
Got it. Oh, I'm gonna forget all of this and ask you about it tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever.
Me too. I wasn't
like-
even paying attention. I was trying to play with Twitter on my phone.
I like Twitter. It's like basically the only social network I'm like active on. I don't like Facebook. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable there. It's weird.
You're about to like it because you're gonna be posting all these pictures of your kid, like everyone else on Facebook.
No, that's. I
Yes.
was gonna
I
take
am.
it to Instagram.
Well, Instagram, Twitter, Google Plus. I'm gonna fire hose spam everybody with pictures of my
I
kid.
can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah, awesome.
You guys are
Wait.
gonna do it.
Obviously, you have to.
What were you saying, Bean?
Have you guys picked a name and you're just not telling anyone, or you're waiting until the baby arrives?
We have 3 top candidates and one that's like a strong front runner.
Wow,
We're not
I'm
telling
fucking
anyone.
dying of anticipation.
Can you
I'm so
share
excited.
some? Can you share some of the names that didn't quite make the list? I know Fern was on there.
Zelda,
Zelda.
Mephistopheles. What was the name?
Venus, Serena.
Lagertha.
Lagertha. That's right.
So-
Diphalia. I was
Lagertha's-
really lobbying for Diphalia.
Lagertha's the Viking shield maiden on the show Vikings. She's totally fucking badass. I was pushing hard for Lagertha for a while. Amy would hit me every time I said it.
Fistula. Fistula is
Yeah.
a good name.
Fistula, yeah.
Yeah. Khaleesi.
Yeah.
Khaleesi.
So
No,
apparently
would be
Khaleesi's a
kind
really popular baby name.
Yeah, unsurprising.
Yeah, so I feel like if you name your kid Khaleesi, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on him. Like,
Yeah.
If you were addressing someone who's like mopping the floor at your building and their name is Khaleesi, how can you not do that in a mocking way?
Yeah, but how many Jesuses do you address mopping the floor of your apartment building?
Good point.
You're ordering a lot of hamburgers from a lot of Jesuses across the United States. So.
True.
Jesus,
can I get
Angel, Prudence, Patience. These people are not living up to their names.
Constance.
But I mean, how many people have been assaulted and beaten with a handbag by a woman named Patience?
Yeah, a lot. I would say a lot.
You know what's funny though? I mean, it's only
and Hobby Lobby, no less.
Right. That's what they call a callback.
Yeah.
In only a matter of years, we're gonna have grandmothers named Brittany and Destiny and Tiff. It's so fucking weird.
I know. I think people should start naming their kids like old-timey names, like Martha and like Hester, just so that,
Like Martha, Jen, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Well, that was one of the debates that Amy and I had. I was sort of pushing for more of the like older names, and Amy likes kind of like some of the newer names.
Yeah. I knew that was the conversation you two were going to be having.
So like one of the names that Amy liked, but that we ultimately ended up rejecting was Madison, but spelled with a Y.
Ooh.
But you know what that says? That's Madison.
That's Madison. That says we can't spell.
Right.
That's like, you can have my blender, but you can't have my Dyson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yo, I like to dry my hands in the bathroom with my Dyson.
Yeah, that with a Y. I don't know how I feel about the Y spellings of names.
Terrible.
A lot of nice people have their names spelled with Ys, but I'm a big I person.
I'm a big I person too, and the reason being is in Albanian, the I is usually, like the I in my name is supposed to be a J.
Oh yeah, Bajram.
Yeah, so my mom was like, my dad wanted to name me Byram. They were originally going to name me Adam, and then my dad had some dream where I was supposed to be named Byram because it was, it's a holiday, and I wanted being born on that holiday. So they were like, all right, we're going to name him Byram. And my mom's like, if we spell it that way, people are going to call him Bajram. And my dad's like, so? And she's like, well, just change it to an I. And so I was born.
Yeah, that's exactly like the story of Oak's daughter's name, because she is going to be born on Independence Day, and
True.
American for independence is Merica, so that's why her name's going to be Merica.
Yeah.
She's named after the holiday she was born on, which is Merica. Or firecracker. Yeah, Merica.
Put a boot in your ass.
Guys, I'm going to try to demonstrate something right now. It's probably going to go over horribly. But to celebrate our nation's independence, I wore my American flag Chuck Taylors.
Oh, yay! For all the YouTube viewers, there they are.
And now I'm stuck in this position and I can't get out.
For the folks listening on iTunes, Byram just held up his foot and displayed to us his beautiful patriotic sneakers.
Yeah.
I only
Did you get a
cut the
haircut?
stripes.
I did. I got a haircut this weekend.
Yeah, I cut my own hair this weekend.
Really? It looks great.
It's because it's dark and grainy, and you can't see it.
No, but I mean, like, it's even when you do a close. People think that, like, as a guy, you could just cut your hair really short by yourself and it'll come out good. Like, I can't even fucking shave and make it look good.
So
Can you-
I basically shaved. I just used like the 3 guard and just like did it all.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's good enough. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares what I look like anymore.
Nobody cares what you look like anymore. And you know who's gonna care even less? What you look like? Your fucking daughter.
Yes, she's not.
Nobody's even gonna see you anymore.
No, not the case at all, because this weekend you're going to be in a ton of photos with you guys rocking all denim outfits like every American family does.
Right. You're gonna look like a date with Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears.
So we had been setting up some like glamour shots that we were gonna take, and one of them was all denim outfits. We were all gonna wear Oshkosh Bagosh with nothing underneath it.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was gonna be one with me like holding a sword above my head while Amy and the baby like lay at my feet.
That's a good one.
Amy's not so excited about that one, but I'm gonna push it through.
It's a good look. I wore overalls to work the other day, and people were staring at me on the walk to work, and it's definitely because I looked so good.
Did your
Right,
nipples come
that's
out the
jealousy.
side?
Yeah, well, I couldn't remember which strap to leave undone, like which was the cool side. So I was a little bit nervous, so I left them both unstrapped. And I
Yeah,
just
because
had,
there's
like,
a
really
cool
high-waisted
side,
belt.
and then there's the gay side.
I
Was that
know.
true when you were growing up? That like
It's
if you
gay code.
yeah, it's gay code.
It means I blow dudes.
Yeah.
Right. If you undo the wrong strap of your overalls. I'm like,
Yeah, it's like
sir,
having an earring in the wrong ear.
yeah, sir, you're wearing overalls. The whole thing is gay.
Sir, you were on your knees blowing
Yeah.
the football team.
Sir, you have a penis in your ass, and you're wearing overalls.
I remember being you telling me once, and I think of this all the time, of your friend being like, when I say something's gay, I don't mean that I hate gay people. I just mean
Right.
it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that thing? It was like the best. It was just like the best description of like the like I don't know. I
Yeah.
always think of that though.
Yeah. I don't think gay people suck. I just think anything that is gay sucks.
Good times.
So good.
Guys, are we gonna do picks of the week?
Yes, I am totally prepared.
Right.
Byron, why don't you go first?
Yeah.
So my pick of the week is actually a warning to not do something. I went, like every Melissa McCarthy fan was expected to. I went and saw her movie when it opened last night. She has a new movie out called Tammy,
Ooh.
where, surprise, surprise, she plays herself, a very kooky fat girl who falls down a lot. She's like the female Chris Farley of our time.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to like the movie. There were some funny moments. Like she, at one point, is standing on her kitchen counter and she's mad at her husband and she jumps down and like breaks her ankles. And you could tell that in real life it probably hurt a lot. And so it was actually pretty funny to watch. There are certain aspects of the movie that were just like ridiculous. Like in the movie, her mother is played by Christine Lottie, which they're the same age, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And her grandmother is played by Susan Sarandon.
What?
Yeah, and it's just like, who the fuck?
Fucking flying to the UK from Munich. That doesn't
Yeah.
even make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And they tried to make Susan Sarandon look really old, but she still looked like a lot hotter than Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. So my warning, my pick of the week is a warning not to waste $13 by going and seeing that.
Nice. My pick of the week is an encouragement to waste $13 on the Tom Cruise movie Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
It's very
surprised
good.
But that's good. I
it's-
hate Tom Cruise.
You know what? Whatever you think of Tom Cruise, you know what? I like Tom Cruise in movies. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about him like otherwise. I guess he's like a crazy person or a cult guy, but
Yeah.
he's fucking good in this movie, and
Okay.
he's like a good kind of action movie star. It's not an Oscar winner, but it is like it's a really fun like summer action movie. Like the plot's interesting, the action movie scenes are like cool and satisfying.
It's very funny, which you wouldn't expect, but I laughed a lot.
Yeah, there's some really funny parts, and it's just a good solid summer movie. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I would see it again. And I took Amy, and she normally hates that kind of stuff, like sci-fi or whatever, and she grudgingly admitted that she enjoyed it.
Whoa, she stayed awake through the whole thing?
She stayed awake through the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was impressive. I don't think she
be
even had a
very
Red
good.
Bull.
Wow. That
Just
was really
popcorn.
good.
Oh, and not to be all up on Tom Cruise's dick, but if you want to make it a double feature weekend, Night and Day was actually another really good movie that he did. It's a action movie, but it's actually really funny.
Filmed
It
in Boston,
co-stars-
you?
Yeah, and it co-stars Cameron Diaz, friend of the pod.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely watch both of those this weekend. There'll be a quiz on it on Monday.
Yeah, we got to get Cameron back on the show.
Yeah, she's been really busy.
Cameron, I know you're listening to this. Tweet us, and we'll set something up.
I did a bit about Cameron Diaz in my stand-up comedy routine last night, and I was talking about how, as I was growing up, I was I always tried to be like the cool girl, like Mary from Something About Mary, like every character that Cameron Diaz has ever played, just like cool and easy breezy. And then I look back on it and I thought to myself, holy shit, Mary, in Something About Mary, decides to end up with Ben Stiller as opposed to Brett Favre. Like, why the fuck would anybody make that decision?
Yeah, so that brings up a great point. Is that a lot of times I think we tend to like try to model our decisions after what we learn that people do in movies.
Yeah.
And it's so wrong.
It's so wrong.
wrong.
So wrong. Oh yeah. So I actually have 2 picks this week. Just came up with them in the last 2 seconds. One, I did a really awesome open mic last night. It was the best one I've ever done in Boston. The caliber of comedy was really fucking high, but it also had a lot to do with the crowd because there were people there watching. It wasn't just comedians, and they were watching and they were paying attention and they were supportive and they were laughing. And so everyone kind of like had their best night because the crowd was so good. And it was at King's Bowling Alley, which is right sort of in downtown Boston, so it's a really convenient location, right by Jasper White's Summer Shack, where I think I got food poisoning the last time I ate there. Oh, that's where we had dinner on my 28th birthday, Black Tie Flip Cup.
Oh, yeah. That place is great.
So, yeah, King's is right next door to that, and it's a bowling alley. But anyway, it was so one of my picks is the Wednesday night open mic at King's in Boston. And then my other pick is, so it was a book, but I think it's also a website, and I believe it's called The Reluctant Father, or like The Reluctant Dad. I'll tweet it out after this. But it's this kind of like picture book written by this guy who had a little daughter, and he was like, it's a very honest portrayal of like what it's like to be a father, because I think a lot of times it's like, oh, everything's perfect, this is totally cool, like I totally understand what's going on. And I think it's actually kind of like a very confusing experience. And so I think this guy has a very honest portrayal of it. And I think it's a cool thing.
Good call. I have seen that. It's very good.
Yeah, it's very good. I don't think it really applies to you that much because I don't think you're reluctant in any way. And I think you have your eyes wide open to like the fucking shit show that's about to descend on your head. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was very, I was admiring of his honesty about it. I thought that was cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent picks, guys.
Yeah.
So
You guys, this could be the end of the world as we know it. It is the end of the world as we know it. Well, maybe if this baby's really late, we have another
we
week.
might have one more week. We'll see.
We might have one more week. We'll see.
But
I
in
mean,
any case, go ahead, Byron.
I can just say this is a Thursday morning podcast. We're probably gonna not know when we're coming to you next.
Yeah.
But we
maybe
shall return.
We shall return. And there will likely be a baby crying.
Yeah. There might be a baby crying. As opposed to 3 grown-ups crying.
Guys.
Love you guys.
Congrats, Big Daddy and Auntie Bean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buddy.
Happy birthday, America.
And the bomb bursting in